Hello, hello. Today we are still doing Chopin, but today we're going to work on Ballade number 1. The reason why I chose this piece is because I've played this piece for a very long time, and also I think that this piece also encapsulates how we can create a story within music. And I think that I'm only going to show you a couple parts because it's been a while since I've played this piece. But from the beginning of this piece, if you've seen my video on Ballade number 1 in at the Southeastern Piano Festival in my YouTube channel, you will hear my best version of this piece. But right now, I'm just going to introduce you to the ideas of how to create a story. In the beginning, you got. I think this is the hardest phrase I've ever had to play because there are so many chord changes and like so many things happening within this one phrase, and I find it fascinating because there's so many things happening and you can just hear the confusion of Chopin. But the first note is the most important note. You want to hear the depth of the piece. You want to hear how this rings. Every time I hear it, I think of, I think I'm in a cathedral. I imagine myself in a very big area and I'm like in trouble. Like there's something happening. There's something grave. And I think that, I think this is something that I had to imagine every single time I started, or else I wouldn't have a story to start with. Let's see if I can play this. This next part is, you see right here on the screen. You definitely hear some loneliness, like what is happening with Chopin? And you want to imagine how you are in Chopin's shoes. So you want to create this lonely feeling. In order to do so, you definitely want to think about the melody. Think about how you can continue this phrase. These things are not important. They're definitely important as in they are background elements, but they are not necessary without the melody. Like, that is your main focus, and you definitely want to think about that before you think about adding these. These you can just pinch, as in what I said in my earlier lesson. You can just use a pinching method. If you're a visual learner, you can definitely think about this as like snowflakes falling, or some type of like water droplets, or just something that is very small and crystal-like, and you just. You can also think about it as a little more muffled, just like as in you want to add in some more color to the main notes, the melody notes. It's up to your interpretation, it's your story, you craft it. But what I wanted to show you today mainly was the change in color. How do you create a story by using color? So in this part, emotions because of the color and the chord progressions. In this first phrase, when you hear that bass note change, it changes the whole understanding of what this earlier phrase was about. And then you go back to mainly, I just want to say that syncopation, this note that goes into another chord, is exactly what color can be visualized as. Like you can see visually the notes themselves are are changing the color and the tone. And if you think about it and you microanalyze these notes and think about how the emotions affect you, as in how do these chords affect you in your emotions, then you will create an idea on how to portray a story. Like right here, I'm like, sounds pretty sad, but then that doesn't sound very sad. That just sounds like you're questioning something. But then you're like, okay, I'm back to sad. And then that has that feeling of like a little bit more hope. Definitely, that's just my own interpretation. But whatever you hear in these chords, maybe this sounds like it's super lonely for you. Then you want to interpret and create that tone of how you feel that chord is lonely to you. For example, okay, I'm just going to pretend that chord is lonely to me instead of having a little bit more hope. Then I would interpret it this way. But my original interpretation had a little more hope, so then I would create a little more uplift. Actually, my lonely phrase is this one. So it totally depends on you, but that is essentially what I wanted to teach today, and that is a huge lesson. So this lesson isn't as long as I wanted it to be, but I think this is something that any pianist needs to understand, and it's a core concept. So if you get this, then great. If not, definitely watch this over and over again. Listen to my Ballade number 1 on my channel, and hopefully I can continue to analyze more on how to create a story. But this is definitely the fundamental beginner way to learn how to create a story.